Okay, happy Wednesday, I think it is. Welcome, guys. Super excited today. We have Melissa with us. Melissa and I actually met. We're just talking briefly about Market Council, which is the council that runs our Super Saturdays. We met for the first time in October. She was very pregnant, and now she has a beautiful baby, so super exciting. And I've had the pleasure of getting to know her, and I had the honor of doing her team call, and she had offered in exchange to do this for us. So I'm really excited. It's always nice to connect with local people. So I'll get to see Melissa again in just a few weeks. So Melissa is a 3-time elite coach. Her team is Team Destination U. That's a really big deal. 3 years, guys, like that's huge. She's an 8-star diamond coach. She has hit, this is really one of my favorite stats. I'm sure you hear this a lot, Melissa. She's hit Success Club every single month since she started in March 2012. So that's 5 years, which is insane. And she has 45 months at Success Club 10. So she's a Success Club 10 All-Star Legend. And she is a 6-figure earner. If you did not get a chance to watch her story, it's like 5 minutes or something before this call, I recommend you watch it after I did post it on our team page. I was just finishing up actually right before this call. And I know Melissa, and there was definitely stuff that I didn't know. Today, she's going to talk to us about the power of sharing your story and sort of how to bring people to you, even if, we're not perfect, right? So, Melissa, I'm going to let you take it away and mute myself. So thanks for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. And hello to everybody listening. I hope you have a chance to watch my story, because I don't want this call to be about my story. I want it to be about how you can tell yours, even if you don't feel like you have one. I find that especially a lot of new coaches will say, Melissa, I don't have a story. I'm just starting. And that's the furthest thing. Sorry, my dog is like wanting me to play fetch. That's the furthest thing from the truth. You have a story. The thing that you have to keep in mind is that you started this journey because of your story, even if you didn't label it as such. When I started, I was overweight. I say that tongue in cheek because I am now at the same weight that I was when I started, because I just had my second son. My first son, when I started, he was 1.5, and I was, not healthy. I had already been diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. So there's I just spoiled the whole thing for you if you haven't watched my story. I was diagnosed with MS in 2009. It was the year I was getting married. It was the year, I had finally gotten to my goal weight. It was the year I was running the Boston Marathon as a qualified participant. And that's a big deal. That was something that I never thought I would do, because I was over 200 pounds in high school. And I had, lost the weight in the wrong way. I was drinking Diet Coke because it was Diet Coke. It didn't have calories, but it was loaded with chemicals. And so I did all this stuff, took diet pills, did all this stuff. And I started to count my calories. But I wasn't, like I just said, counting chemicals. And when I was diagnosed, it was a big kick in the gut. I had run marathons before, but I had finally qualified for Boston. And I talk about that in my video. And it was a big deal for me. And in the middle of my training, I couldn't feel my feet. I remember getting out of bed and being like, what the heck is going on? And I was diagnosed. I went on to run Boston a couple months later. And I've run marathons since. I've run 8 in total. I do not take medication for my MS. I also talk about that in my video. Fast forward a few years, my friend's sister reached out to me after she knew that I was trying to lose my baby weight after I stopped nursing my son. And it's funny because I had ordered Insanity off of Craigslist. So let that be a little note to yourself to not discount anybody who goes and buys a workout program off of something cheap like eBay or Craigslist. I didn't know, and there are still people out there to this day that do not know that Insanity or any, like the 21 Day Fix, they don't know that they're Beachbody workouts. We do, because we eat, sleep, and breathe this stuff, but people don't know, and I didn't. Even though it said it on every video, I had no idea. And I didn't know that Shakeology, what that was, all that. So I was doing, and mind you, my coach had reached out to me 2 months before I purchased Insanity on Craigslist and tried to get me to drink Shakeology. And I basically told her to go take a hike because I didn't want anything to do with it. I was convinced that things that I had had in the past to help me lose weight had caused my MS. That was me, because if you really think about it, what we consume is going to affect our body. Like, just like the gas that you put in your car, you hear it all the time. If you put diesel fuel in a car that doesn't take diesel, it's not going to run properly. The same thing is true with your body. So I'm convinced, and I've had off the record conversations with different neurologists that say to me, it is what we eat. It's what we drink. And if your body is susceptible to autoimmune diseases and you're also feeding yourself junk, then your body is going to output junk. And so that's what it was doing. And boom, a diagnosis. So, you know, I really want you to understand that I say that I have MS, and I really hope you don't have a story like that. I know that, you know, Jillian, she has her story too, when she was, you know, hit by a car. Like, seriously, that's a huge story. People probably don't have a story like that dramatic. And thank your lucky stars that you don't, but you do have something that brought you to Beachbody. And so my coach saw that I was blogging. I was already blogging about my Insanity journey on Facebook. And she was like, Melissa, you really need to be a coach. And I told her to, again, take a hike. But behind the scenes, I was researching Shakeology. I had my personal training certification. I had been studying nutrition for about a year now, because when I was diagnosed, I cut out all the soda. I cut out all the sucralose. I cut out artificial stuff. And I just assumed Shakeology was the same. So I tell you that, as I'm sure you're told all the time, even if somebody says no, they're still thinking about it more than likely. And so for 5 months, I researched it. And finally, in March of 2012, I said, all right, sign me up, because I'm at a loss here. At that point, I was losing my eyesight, which can be something that it's a symptom of MS. And it's very scary. And I always said that the only time I would take medication is if I started to lose my eyesight. So I started to drink it, and Shakeology is not a cure for any disease or illness, but it certainly helped. And so when you're trying to think about what brought you to Beachbody, start to think of those things. How did your coach approach you? What made you say yes? Maybe, Rex, stop that. Sorry. What made you say yes? Was it the fact that you just went to the doctors and heard a diagnosis? Don't be afraid to share that either. It can be scary sharing those things. I'll tell you that I had the thinnest skin when I started this business. So I hope this helps you, and I hope it helps the new coaches, that when you are sharing, you're putting your heart out there in an effort to help others. Not for yourself, but for the person reading it on the other side of the computer. And sometimes those other people on the other side of the computer hide behind the keyboard, and they're mean. My husband has received messages from random strangers all over the country, just saying things like, you better watch out because your wife is going to die. You're going to have to empty her bedpan and change her diaper because she's not taking medication, and you need to fix that, and like weird messages. Now, I could have let that shut me down and not continue. But for every one person that's going to try to tear you down, there's 15 others that are ready to lift you up. So when you're sharing your story, make sure you realize that. You're going to have okay, so I just had another baby. Found out we were pregnant on the cruise last year with Beachbody. And we waited 6 years to have another baby. And like I said earlier, I'm back to that weight that I was at after I had my first son. I gained less, but I took care of myself. I did Country Heat the whole time, and I shared that the whole time. I drank Shakeology every single day, and I shared that because that was part of my story. And I was about to share my photo now, and my mom laid into me. Even now, knowing how successful I am with this and knowing how my story has changed it for some people, she still comes down on me about sharing all of my story. And that's okay. And I understand that and I respect that. But when people say that to you, it's because, like for my mom, she's trying to protect me from all those people that are going to have bad things to say. And so that's where it's coming from. So understand that they saying things to you are coming from a place of either wanting to protect you or to protect themselves. It's a defense mechanism half the time. So be aware of that. Rex, knock it up. Sorry. He's crazy. Okay. So with that said, you all have a story regardless of where you're at. You start sharing your story, the good, the bad, the ugly, the very ugly, whatever it is, start sharing it because you're going to speak to somebody. You might not know who. It doesn't matter if you know who, but just know that people are watching, even if they're not clicking. I don't know why people find it so difficult to click like, but they do. And so know that people are watching regardless of if they're clicking like or not, okay? But those people that are clicking like, thank them for it in a private message. Just be like, hey, thank you for supporting me on my journey. That's how you start a conversation. And that's a call for a whole nother day, right? So don't just, the other thing that I always like to talk about is not just posting about Beachbody, because you are more than Beachbody. Right now, the hashtag right now is I am Team Beachbody. Yes, you are, but ma'am, sir, you are way more than just Beachbody. You are also, maybe you're a mother, maybe you're a sister, you're definitely a daughter, maybe you're a wife, maybe you're a photographer, maybe you love to garden, maybe you have a golden doodle, whatever. You have other things that are you. And you may have heard this before, but it's worth noting again that you should find your top 5 things to talk about. You should make your Facebook page a sitcom that people are going to want to come to and see what the heck you are doing, to see what the heck Christy is doing, or Ashley, or Allison, or Candy. Who you are, like your own. I always wanted to be on a reality television show. I always wanted to be on Survivor. I still want to be on Wheel of Fortune, and I will be one day. I am like a big game show freak. I sit here and I work all day because I do this full time now. And I watch game shows while I send out invites. Like that's just my thing. It always has been. And that's part of who I am. So I'll make like a workout to post on Facebook based on if they call a vowel on Wheel of Fortune, you have to do 5 push-ups, like things like that. I'm also a photographer. So for me, I'll give a free session to somebody that's local that signs up with me 1 month or whatever. So you can always integrate who you are into your posts that have nothing to do with Beachbody, right? So you can integrate Beachbody into those posts. But come up with your top 5 things. So like I said, I'm a game show lover. I have a golden doodle. I'm a mom and a wife. I'm a Christian. I'm a triathlete. It's probably going to be more than 5 things, but start with 5. And they'll evolve over time. I don't do photography nearly as much as I used to because of Beachbody, and that's okay to have it evolve. All right. And if you guys have questions, feel free to ask throughout. It's okay to not be on your A game at all times.
Can I ask a question, Melissa, before you? So yes. You talked about like sharing, obviously like you have like a story and it's not all positive, right? Like MS is not rainbows and sunshine every day. So how do you feel like you share without being like my MS sucks today, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like that's a struggle for me some days. Like I don't know if you guys listened to the National Wake Up Call. Did you listen to Ashley's call, Melissa?
This past one?
No, Ashley Molstad's call like 2 weeks ago. The Gremlins, about the Gremlins.
Yeah.
So like, I personally have not shared this yet because I'm not ready, but like I've gained a lot of weight since I've become pregnant, and I'm exercising every day. I'm really eating well. I don't understand it. And I am better now, but my first trimester, I was really unhappy in my own skin, and I haven't felt that way in a very long time. And I don't want to share that because I'm very thankful to be pregnant, and it was not something we ever expected to happen after what I went through. So I'm struggling with how to share that without someone being like, well, you should be lucky you're pregnant. Because I know I should be lucky, but it doesn't make me feel any more comfortable. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, yes, it does. Because every time I go to post now, I think about that because I have so many friends who struggle with getting pregnant and so many friends who would die to like be waking up at 1 a.m. nursing their child. And I get it. But it doesn't make your hurt or your pain point right now any less than theirs. And, you know, obviously when I post, so yesterday, you guys can go look at my post. Yesterday, I've just been in a silly mood because my hormones are like all over the place because I'm still nursing. And I was in the dressing room going to Punta Cana, right? I don't even want to go, if I could be quite honest, because I'm very thankful that I'm going, okay? But if I'm being honest, I don't want to go because I don't feel good in my clothing. And I'm going to wear all black. So I was in the dressing room yesterday at TJ Maxx. Jackson's in the stroller, crying his head off. I'm trying to just try some clothes on that I don't even want to try on because it's not fun anymore. It used to be so fun. I used to go get fun little rompers to wear on the cruise and all that. Not anymore. And so I posted, and somebody did come back and say to me, they're like, please stop self-shaming yourself. And I'm like, I'm not self-shaming myself. This is how I feel. And I know that I'm not alone. There are many other women out there who are postpartum, who are dealing with trying to find themselves again. And so, but when I post, I do try to keep that in mind. And sometimes I will say, I know that I will get back to where I want to be. And I know that there are some women out there who would kill to be in my position right now, but right now this is how I feel. And that has value, period. And so I kind of try to make those kinds of posts funny, yet empathetic, and I'll make hashtags to make sure that I hit on those points. But like my hashtag yesterday was wearing all black to Punta Cana, and you know, still appreciate the fact that I had a baby or whatever. But you're always going to have somebody, and you know your heart. And if people have an issue with that, sorry, not sorry. So that kind of thing. Does that help? Because there are people going through the same thing you are right now.
No, yeah, totally. I just like, you know, I had this is my rainbow baby. I had a miscarriage. So, and you know, they didn't think I'd poop again on my own. So like a baby wasn't really like in my thoughts. I just, you know, I'm in these pregnancy groups. These girls are like, I've gained 1 pound in 20 weeks. And I'm like, that's funny. I've gained like 15 pounds in 15 weeks. Sweet.
And we're beach body coaches, and we're supposed to be all athletic and fun.
Yeah. And I am feeling better. I had to put my scale away though, because I was going back to my previous crazy scale habits. And I need to talk about it, and I know I need to get it off my chest, but I'm not, you know, and that's another thing, guys. I'm not going to take over this call, but like, you know, when you see me post things, or Melissa, or these coaches that, you know, are elite coaches and big time coaches, just because we post them doesn't mean it's easy for us. Like I've been dwelling on this since 3 weeks ago, and I still haven't done anything about it because I'm scared. Probably going to post it and turn off my phone and shut my computer for a few hours.
You know what happens outside of your comfort zone, my friend?
Yeah.
And reread it and then tweak it or whatever, if that will make you feel comfortable. But, the other thing with me, like, I embrace, like, I'm sorry I didn't get all gussied up for the call, but I just don't have time. Like, I embrace my mom self. Like, this is just, I just made a video of me making a mom bun, and you just make it funny and you just share who you are and you don't try to be somebody else. I tried to do that. I tried to be Lindsay Matway. When I first started, I was like makeup and blow dry my hair. I cut my bangs, no lie, go back to my old pictures, to look like Shalene Johnson because I wanted to be her. And if you go look, you'll be like, whoa. So you have to be yourself. And I just realized, you know what? I don't wear makeup. I don't wash my face half the time. I wear cat pajamas to bed, and I'm just going to show the world who I am. And so you have to be fearlessly you and unapologetically you. Stop biting me. Okay. So there's that. You have to believe within yourself, because if you don't believe within yourself, if you don't believe in the power of your story, it's going to come off as weak and it's going to come off as fakey fake. So you have to believe in the power of your story. My MS is not nearly as bad as, say, some of the people on my team. Like I recruit, I hate that name or term, but I coach a lot of people with MS. Just, they come to me and that's how it is. Some of them have drop foot. They can't lift their foot, but after a couple weeks of doing the workouts, they improve. I don't have drop foot. I've been very blessed with my MS and that it's not awful. So when I'm sharing, I make sure that I, shine a light on what MS really is. And while it doesn't look like I have it, I do, but that I know people that have it much worse than me. So keep that in mind when you're posting too, is that you have to be strong in your belief that your story is worth telling. Like I said, my MS is not nearly as bad. I'm not in a wheelchair, even though the doctors said that I should be. I'm not. And so if I were to say, if I were to go on Facebook and be like, oh, my MS, it's really not that bad, no one would really connect with that. You know what I mean? And instead I say, this is what it was. This is what it could be. Because I don't know. I could wake up tomorrow, God help me, and not be able to walk. Who knows? So have confidence that your story is worth telling. You have to get over yourself and get out of your own way. So if you're wavering on sharing your story or a piece of it, then you have to get out of your own way and go and do that, because somebody is waiting to hear your story. Somebody on the other side of that computer is going to stumble across, by the grace of God, is going to stumble across your post and say, that's what I needed. And whether or not they sign up with you is whatever, who cares? We care, like we want to help them, but at the same time, as long as you speak to them, as long as you shined a light in their life on that dark day, that's all that matters. And that's why you need to make your Facebook a place where people want to go every day for that light. So I always tell people too, be careful to not be, unless you're like super into politics and you are like a diehard Republican, diehard Democrat, diehard whatever, unless that's part of your top 5 or like who you want to attract, try to stay away from the stuff that causes controversy, unless you want that to be like the team that you built, because you get back what you put out there. So I stay away from controversial topics at all costs. And then people don't get annoyed and they don't block me. Unless they're just annoyed with happiness, and they might block me. And if that happens, okay, you're not part of my tribe anyway, and I'll see you when you need a pick-me-up. So that's just I'll throw that tip in there for extra credit, just to stay away from those kinds of posts. Let's see, what else did I want to say? Any questions while I look for the rest of my notes?
You guys have anything? This is like, and it's a small call, which is not necessarily a bad thing. You guys can talk openly, right? A little more one-on-one attention.
Yeah, if you're struggling with how to share your story.
Yeah, if someone wants to chat, I mean, I already kind of chimed in about the fact that I'm a wimp, and but I will tell you, when I went through my accident, I shared some really crappy pictures and videos of myself, but it was therapeutic for me. Like, I'm sure, I don't know if Melissa feels the same way, but I felt like, oh my God, it mentally helped. It helped me. It helped me get through it. People say, oh my God, you've been so mentally strong. I'm like, yeah, it's because of this online community that supported me, So.
I have a question.
Yes.
How do you go about throwing a positive spin on things? Like the last, I guess 3 weeks, I've gained 10 pounds of swelling during my pregnancy, and it's hard, it's painful, and I don't want to keep posting I'm in pain. This workout sucks. That's boring. I don't want to put that on public media. How would you make that good?
So there's always a silver lining. There's always something positive out of it. So, just off the top of my head, instead of having to go to a gym and drag your butt to a gym, you can drag your butt to your TV and do your workout in the comfort of your own home, regardless of the fact that I am swollen. Or you could make it funny. And like she was just saying, make it therapeutic for yourself. Sometimes laughter is the best medicine besides exercise. And that could help you. If you just make it funny, my post about making my mom bun, at the same time, I'm like, wow, I really wish I had it in me to go take a shower today. But I'm just going to make a video to make myself laugh, and I'm going to make the messiest mom bun I can, and maybe it'll get a couple likes. And it made me laugh, and it made other people laugh. So just try to infuse some humor in it. It is miserable when that happens. But the thing is, every mom goes through that. Every mom goes through that. Heck, I'm still carrying around my water weight. So I hope that helps a little bit. Sorry that my dog is so distracting. He's gnawing on my arm like it's a bone. So I always start to think to myself, okay, is this post that I'm about to hit enter on going to give somebody hope or make somebody laugh? Or is it going to provide value to the lives of those that read it? And if it's just me crying about whatever without asking a question at the end, it's probably not worth posting. So if you could say something to the effect of, how many moms out there can understand where I'm coming from, or something like that, but don't make it that every single time. Does that help a little bit? Okay. Knock it off.
Yeah, I definitely, that's sort of similar to what my thing is, Allison. I don't want to come off as whiny. I'm so chubby right now. And everyone be like, well, you should be thankful that you're pregnant. I am thankful, but I'm chubby and thankful. So,
That's a good hashtag.
Chubby and thankful.
That's going to be my hashtag, chubby and thankful. I am chubby and thankful.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. And it's, for someone that was, similar to Melissa, I graduated high school as 200 pounds. I'm 5'4". That's large for a 17-year-old, right? And so as someone that struggled their whole life, I finally got into size comfortable in my skin. And now I'm, can't button my pants. So.
Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Christy.
Okay. I wasn't sure because it said earlier that my microphone wasn't working. I'll just to share something with you. And if you post anything about this, y'all, either one of you, I'll put a little comment on there. Both times that I've been pregnant in my life, I got pregnant right after I lost weight and got where I wanted to be. And I was like, oh, this is so lovely. Oh, my God. Oh, baby. So, I think your body's like at the healthiest point, and it goes, okay, now it's time to gestate. Let's grow a human being. So, but I really liked what you said about the authenticity of stuff, because, if the only thing we ever post about all the stinking time is happy, 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 happy. Now, I'm not saying, be morose or anything like that. Like, oh my God, I've had the most awful day. Oh my God, all the time. But I think that if you post things, what I see is when I look at other people that I follow potentially, if they are posting things across the board 100%, it's unrealistic if it's happy all the time. Like 100% happy. Because you're going to have a shitty day. I don't care who you are. I mean,
leave it to Christy. We're all gonna have shitty days. That's right, girl.
Oh, I mean, sometimes you are. Otherwise, it's not authentic and it's unrealistic. And I think that the not so great times are a lot of the times when I get more people commenting and liking my post, and I get more interaction and more conversation started, because they're like, oh my God, you're a real person. You're not just trying to put this crap out there for me to drink or, sell me something. You're actually going through things that I understand. That's one of the reasons people come to my fitness classes, is because when I started out teaching fitness classes, I was in a size 22. I didn't wait till I got down to a 10, 12. Hell no. I just jumped right into that crap, man. And I was like, you can follow me or you can't follow me. I don't know, but I'm going to do this for me. And if you want to go along for the ride, you're good. So, but I just want you to know I appreciate that. I don't know how much longer I can stay on because of my daughter. I've got to go talk to her, but I just wanted you to know that I appreciated you taking time to talk to us tonight. And thanks, Jillian, for setting it up. And even though on my computer, Jillian, it says you're Whitney Webb, you look lovely. I like your hair.
I know. I have Whitney. It's a whole long story about anyway. Yes.
It's all right. And I enjoy looking at all these other people. I never, like Candy. Yeah, I see you. And Ashley and Allison, for sure. I've been following your pregnancy story. And sister, let me tell you what, both of you ladies, I don't care how pregnant you get from this point on, you're still gorgeous. So throw that shit out there, man. Just let them see it. And I love the pictures of the belly. I have one of my best friends that's a fitness instructor is due tomorrow. And that baby ain't going nowhere. Mm-mm. And she has been frustrated like you, and so put it out there, man. Somebody is going to definitely appreciate what you're saying, and they'll connect. So love you guys.
Bye, Christy.
I'm going to mute myself, otherwise I won't shut up.
Thank you. I love these calls. This is awesome sharing, and yeah, Chrissy just did, I'm sure she made Andy and Allison feel great. Be someone who makes someone feel like Melissa was saying, what is someone going to get out of this post, right? Or this comment. So.
And don't feel like you need to tell your whole story in one post. Make sure you've probably heard this too, breadcrumbing it. Tell a little bit of your story here and there. You don't have to tell it all at once.
Anyone have any other questions or struggling with something they need help sharing?
I do have one more question, honestly, a real one. So in your experience, how many people are you running across and I know you can't give me a real number, but even you can say, a little bit, a lot, whatever, but I have autoimmune disorders myself. Mine are blood clotting related, most of them, but I also have some allergy issues. I'm allergic to exercise. No shit. I'm allergic to exercise. There is an honest to goodness thing, and I teach fitness classes, and I am allergic to it. My heart rate gets up too fast, and it's hard. But Shakeology, it has pretty much negated that. It's been fabulous. So have you found that a lot of your people who drink Shakeology that are autoimmune, that it's improved it somewhat? There's no medical background evidence, but do you find that that's helped a lot of your people?
Every single one.
Every single one?
Every single one has had something good happen because of Shakeology. Again, it's not a cure. They all still have MS. They all still have their issues, but it's helped them tremendously. So yes, every single one. And that's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Well, that's what I was thinking about, because it's definitely helped me.
Yeah.
Especially considering, I teach fitness for a living. So it has actually not just the livelihood of coaching, but the livelihood of the fitness aspect that I was doing before. It's made a huge difference for me in just that alone. So, and that's other things to share too.
Yeah.
Things about how it's, but anyway, all right. Now I do have to go now. I love you people. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
The other thing too is to share about the business, just like in 2 minutes. For me, that was one thing that I never, for the first, stop it. No, sorry. For the first year, I didn't talk about the business. I got to Diamond, but I didn't go any further than that. I went to 2013. My husband he didn't want me to sign him up. So he signed up January 1st, 2013. I said, give me your stinking social because you're signing up. And I signed him up. He was my first Diamond at Summit that year, which Summit was in July of 2013. And I decided at that Summit that enough was enough. I was going to start telling people about this business opportunity. And so at Summit, I was 1 star, and we finished the year as a 5-star elite team. So think about that when you're holding back, because you might be afraid that people think you're, trying to make money off of them. That was my fear. And I had to start thinking that I was really holding back people from sharing this opportunity, from sharing these amazing products with their friends and family. So I was holding back a potential life-changing business or a potential life-changing health and fitness track for thousands of people. And once I stopped thinking about caring about what other people thought of me, and started just to share my heart and share my passion, everything changed. And so I started to share my story about the business. And so even if you might not think that you have this big story with the business, maybe tomorrow your paycheck is going to be $14 from one cycle as an Emerald. So what? What is $14 going to do for you this week? It could, it pays for how many Shakeology servings? Like, Shakeology is $4 a day. So that helps you pay for 3 Shakeology servings. That's a big deal. Even if your paycheck a month is just helping you pay your electric bill, that's a big deal, because some people are looking at getting their electric turned off. So think about that kind of stuff too, and be sharing about the business at least twice a week. And that can be scary, but that's okay. Do it anyway.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I say that a lot. Like, you don't need to be like a 6-figure earner to start talking about what it's done for you, putting gas in your car, groceries, anything,
Because most people don't, like, I used to look at, so my upline is Bob Lucido, Million Club, whatever it's called, Keith Callahan, Million Club, Nicole Jones, Million Club, Tony Furtado, Million Club, and then my coach, and then me. So I have, of the top 5, my 5 upline, 4 of them are in the Million Club, which is pretty awesome to look at. But when I was first starting, I was like, that's never going to be me. Like, it was just so unreachable. I wanted to see the stories of, oh, I can pay for diapers. Okay, great. That kind of stuff. So people, I might be a 6-figure earner, but people don't know that about me unless they're on my team or on calls like this. I don't blast that all over Facebook. I talk about, little things like being able to send my son to a Christian school, paying off our car, that kind of stuff. Now I talk about that. But sometimes it's good to go back to my roots. When I first started, I was able to pay for my kids' diapers. I was able to pay for my Shakeology every month, that kind of stuff. So remember that too when you're talking about the business.
Yeah, for sure. Anyone have anything they want to ask? No?
I think you should make a video of the dog chewing on you.
Right?
Amy, are you still on?
Yes, ma'am. I'm listening. It's a lot of really good information.
Yeah, I know. So I know you're brand new. So I was going to ask how you felt about everything, and if you had questions or kind of any of that?
I'm sure I'll have a million later. I've kind of been taking notes and doing that type of thing, but I've kind of tried to get a little bit of my story out there, but the way that it's being put out today, it makes more sense to kind of do little bits at a time, and everybody has their story, so it has been very helpful.
Yeah. And I had a story before I got hit by a car. I still shared my story, right? Like Melissa already had a terrible, situation when she came into the business. I did not. I was like a regular person that I work a job I like. I don't plan on leaving. I don't have kids. I didn't think about all the things I didn't have. I just thought about like what I could do. And there are people like you waiting for this opportunity. You just have to share it with them.
Right.
There's someone like
right.
you. I guarantee there's someone just like you. My coach will probably tell you she did not think I'd be a great coach, but just prove everyone wrong,
It's the ones that you don't think will excel that do.
Yes.
The ones that say they don't want to do it that are the best. So whenever somebody says, "Oh, I don't want to do it," just think to yourself, yes, because you're going to be awesome. Trust me.
Yeah. Yeah, true. That is true. So, all right. Well, we will let you go. If anyone have anything else, I appreciate it. Thank you guys for coming. I know this was a smaller call, but sometimes it's nice. We get to like chat a little more rather than like have a, just a speaker, which was nice. And if you are, I don't know if anyone's coming to my local Super Saturday, Melissa will be there so you can like see her in person and like touch her. She's like a real, like a real person. And I encourage you guys all to go to your local Super Saturdays if you haven't been, especially if you're someone that thrives off that interaction, because we do so much online. Some people need that like in person. I will be honest with you, that is not me. I don't thrive off in-person interaction, but once a quarter, totally cool in my book. And they're really, wherever you go, you're going to hear an amazing story. You're going to feel inspired. I guarantee you're going to feel energized. It can't hurt. And when you're paying for your ticket, it's just to cover the cost of the venue. So no one's making any money. I don't know if anyone knew that or not. No one's making any money off you. It's just it's very expensive to rent these places and the AV and crap all over.
Right.
But I highly encourage you to go. And if you can't find one close, send me a message and I'll see what I can do for you. So, all right. All right. Well, thank you guys. I will get the recording up. I may make it unlisted just because we shared some pretty personal stuff and I don't know that I want it out. So, thank you again, Melissa, for joining us. I'll see you in a week and a half.
Yes. Sounds good.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a good night. Thank you.
You're welcome.